You're about to watch Home Alone Homecoming, the third and final chapter of the McCallister family saga. It's a brand new cinematic experience, and the only way you can watch it is if you have a copy of Home Alone 1 and you play it on mute, and you listen to the audio provided in this video. It's a remake, it's a reboot, it's a reimagining, it's all those terrible words, but it's a Christmas miracle when it all comes together, and I think you're really gonna like it. So, when it fades in at the 20th Century Fox logo, that's when you're gonna start the movie, or you could just time it up with me right now. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Exterior, abandoned neighborhood, night. Gusts of unforgiving wind toss about any poor soul that isn't bolted down here in the dilapidated suburban neighborhoods of Haddonfield, Illinois. It seems a bitter wind is blown in just in time for the holidays. But what's this? From the darkness materializes a dead-eyed monolith of a man who is handling the weather quite nicely considering he's in a hospital gown. The dark behemoth pushes through the icy nonsense like a confident oil tanker coming in just a little hot. As if on cue, the light of a full moon parts the clouds, revealing a once beautiful family home. A home that this monster recognizes. His darkened frame glides up the steps like a demon shadow. Violently, he heaves his entire body weight, a respectable 260, against the frozen door. No dice. A huffing, puffing fervor consumes him. His eyes go almost completely white as he rage kicks the old doorknob, emblazoned with a capital M. Bingo. The door explodes inward. His stoic silhouette looms over the doorway. He came home. In Flashback, we cross-dissolve to the McCallister family home, Christmas Eve, 1993. Upon discovering that the unofficial theme of this year's holiday trip was third time's the charm, eh, Kev? Kevin McCallister was of two minds about traveling for Christmas this year. On one hand, he was thrilled as shit that his family had agreed on his suggestion of traveling to Botswana, South Africa. An unexpected personal victory for the little guy. And on the other hand, somewhere deep in his pure, blonde-haired little kid heart, the purest kind of heart, a grim, vivid voice warned him that disappointment waited for him again this holiday season. And if the world is as cruel as some claim it to be, this new tradition of familial abandonment wasn't so accidental as it routinely was made to seem. Well, maybe I'm just seeing a narrative born out of my own unresolved trust issues, Kevin thought as he looked over his family's trip itinerary, noting that everyone else was paid and accounted for, save for him. Better bring it up with the parents. Your mother's trying to call the airline now, Kev. They'll let us know if we can find your missing ticket. Kevin tiptoes carefully around his father's words. If we find it, well, just buy me another one. I mean, I get the impression that money's never an object for this family. But the stern, icy stare of Papa McCallister stops Kevin dead in his tracks. Well, you're not welcome here anymore, are you, Kev? He says with his glassy, unblinking eyes. I'll write that down. His mother makes actual eye contact with him for a fleeting moment, the only connection that she's made in over a year. While being escorted out by the servants, young Kevin is suddenly paralyzed by a heinous thought. Well, what if they've been trying to unload me this entire time? What, third time's a charm? And Kevin's gone for good? Well, recent evidence can totally support this theory. The older McCallister children dance and spin about the vestibule in beautiful slow motion. Flowers and ribbons for the girls, small wooden flutes for the boys. You know, rich kid stuff. You get the impression that they've never felt anything less than satisfaction in their entire white lives. In his time of need, Kevin turns to Peter, the second youngest McCallister, in hopes of finding some charitable compassion. Well, Kev, let me put it to you this way. You're adopted. You're adopted, and we all regret allowing that to happen. You're not a McCallister. You're not even a friend. You're a nothing. Peter, well, he knew how to kick you where it hurts. Mom and Dad didn't know how to bring it up, Lenny interjects, We knew you'd lose your shit Hawaiian style, so the plan was to phase you out gradually, abandon you a couple times, and get you used to living on your own, and then throw you away like a small child hidden away in a duffel bag. And they kind of hope you'll just bend over and go along with it. Well, Kevin was never one for aggression. But here in this moment with these insufferable wastes of DNA, he just didn't have any more fucks to give. A deep, primal rage boils his blood, and Hawaiian style, he does go. After getting his shit together and cleaning up some of the drywall he destroyed, Kevin knocks on the door of the west wing of the McCallister mansion, aka Buzz's territory. "Hello? Hello?" he calls into the darkened, cavernous void. "Oh, so what? You think I can save you now?" calls a terrible orange voice. "Buzz, is that you?" Kevin's fear of the dark is kicking into prime time. "Oh, you must be desperate. Crawling on your hands and knees like a baby into the hands of your sworn enemy. A lantern ignites, revealing the hideous visage of Buzz the Hideous." Now, just drop your shit and let's go over to the window for a second. Once in position, Buzz slows his pace like a villain soaking up some evil time. "You guys know that thing where every neighborhood has a killer in it, right?" he says, looking into the flame of his lighter. Kevin, the other guy, just kind of go with it, despite the hokey theatrics of it all. "Yeah, so what about it?" "Well, I used to think that old man was ours out there. I once falsely accused him of murder. A hunch is not enough evidence, I'm afraid. But then I got to know him this last summer, out by the lake, out on the sea-dews. And he's a soulful man. But if he's not the murderer of this town, then who is? And you know that hunch that I had? You know that a murderer was nearby? Well, it never went away. And you know what they say about me and my hunches, don't you, Kev?" Kev knew without a shadow of a doubt that the only thing that Buzz was about was hunches. And when he had one, and boy did he have one, it was usually absolutely true. Me? A murderer?" Kevin thought out loud. "Clearly we've all entertained the idea, but to act on it, well, I never." But alas, the seed had been planted in Kevin's fertile, suggestible kid mind. To celebrate his brother's induction into the Dark Side Club, Buzz gives Kevin an all-access pass to his personal snuff film library. You can't unsee this, all right? In case you were wondering," he says, as he plays a clip of a Formula One racer completely de-atomizing some poor pit stop attendant. The crew scuttles about, picking up all the recognizable facial tissue of their coworker, which is heartwarming, but it's just the kind of thing you shouldn't see when you're a kid. Strangely, Kevin doesn't object and continues to watch in quiet awe. Back in the foyer, we find a character that the audience is pretty familiar with at this point in the McCallister family saga. It's Harry, the burglar. We assumed he was rotting away in jail for his attempted murder, twice over I might add, of our little Kevbone. But due to a work release program, he's now head of security at the Haddonfield Institute for the Mentally Unstable. Because who should we trust with society's monsters? Oh, I know. Other monsters. And thieves. Anyway. Papa McCallister comes galloping in on a beautiful steed. I thought I took that sign down. "Gentlemen, we've already filled the stable boy position. Good day with you," he says with a charming wink. "Oh, no, sir, it's me, Harry, the burglar. Although this time I'm working on behalf of the Freak Hospital. We're here to pick up your unwanted son." "Oh, that's right. Well, you're a little early. We've got to humiliate him one last time, and then, well, I guess he's all yours at that point. You're welcome to join if you want. But Harry the burglar and introducing Jack McBrayer just stay right there in the doorframe." Now, by no means was Kevin allowed to ever eat with his family, and recovering scraps and leftovers from the trash had become his only source of sustenance. But lately, these sweaty pigs have been making a point to finish every last blessed morsel. "Y'all know I haven't eaten since Tuesday, right? Just putting that out there." Buzz successfully chokes back the entire feast, and through greasy, sloppy bites, he reminds Kev that he eats only when Buzz goddamn pleases. You know that I shared my hunch with the family, and they all happened to agree with me. It's really just a matter of time before you, the adopted murderous interloper, goes Hawaii 5-0 on our asses. Oh no, he told them. Darkness cascades over Kevin's psyche like an evening fog, and suddenly, he's not afraid anymore. And that foreboding voice returns, telling Kevin to kill. Blood sprays across the room as Kevin slices Buzz's jugular as if it was merely a reflex. The McCallister family bursts into a genuine calamity. Nobody knows whether to scream and run or to scream and be a hero. But Papa Mac rides in on horseback, and in no time, Kev is lassoed. I don't know what came over me. I'm not a murderer, he pleads. But Uncle Dumbshit puts Kev in his place. You're not a McCallister either. Shouldn't that be enough? Oh, it's been a tough day for Kev. He takes a long, methodical look at his former family and vows to someday erase their unthinkable faces. Get him in the van, his mama croaks. Kevin's inner demons spar and gnash. They were planning to dump you this entire time. How could you have not seen this, you stupid boy? He is dragged, kicking and pissing himself, into the back of a loony bin paddy wagon. There's a bunch of unique and interesting characters in there already that they've been rounding up, but their stories being told elsewhere by a more handsome storyteller. Harry, the burglar, positions himself to be the one to slam the door on Kevin's little face. He gives Kev a practiced, yes, it's me look, but Kev knew it was him the whole time. I mean, they've had 2 adventures already, and they're kind of hyper-aware of each other. Don't worry, Kev. Where you're going... Wait, let me get this right. Don't worry, Kev. Where you're going, you won't need roads. A completely fumbled attempt at some sinister final words. Now, Kevin knew that his time was almost up, and that he had better make the most of this unexpected FaceTime with his adopted mama. He appeals to her heart, if it did exist. And before I go, I just wanted to say that all I ever wanted was to spend a Christmas with you all, and you seem laser focused on making sure that that never happens. Just remember to bring me back something from Africa. She dislocates her neck, holding back so much laughter. We were never going to Botswana. We said that to keep you happy and distracted. I'm finally getting the Paris Christmas that I deserve. 3rd time's a charm. Eh, Kev? The gloves are off, and Kev is looking to make promises. When I come back, I'm getting a holiday with my family. I don't care who I have to kill. I don't care what I have to do, but someday I'm getting the family Christmas that I deserve. I'll be sure to tell everyone how frightening and mature you were when you said that, she says before slamming the door. As the paddy wagon pulls away into the foggy night, we dissolve into a maddening visual interpretation of little Kev's psyche at the moment. It's a dark house of mirrors of psychedelic images that are deft in their accuracy of portraying psychosis, yet haunting with its unique artistic direction. It's all a bona fide storm of tortured thoughts and sticky, icky feelings. And we're close on Kevin's eyes as he begins to feel a new sense of power, a power within his madness. A new control over his demons, like unlocking a new playable character, except this time it's a much crazier version of your normal self. Kevin focuses his third eye like a virtuoso and splits the old maple tree right in half, with what I describe as a psychic EMP blast that takes out the entire power grid. 7 very important men will be called in the middle of the night to come help fix it, and they'll uncover a conspiracy that goes all the way to the top. A fascinating story being told elsewhere. Well, okay, campers, let's rise and shine, and don't forget your booties, because it's cold out there today in Haddonfield. It's cold out there every day when you find yourself repeating the mistakes of your past, over and over again, and haven't we been here before, and have we learned nothing? The power outage again causes the McCallisters to snooze their way to Latesville. It's kind of a nuisance to all those that get roped into their annual holiday silliness. Well, hello, shuttle man. Mind if I ask you what brings you to the McCallister house? Says the precocious boy. You know this place is haunted now, right? Ever since it happened. Ever since that young boy, what was his name? Devon Graham? Something like that. Ever since they loony binned him last night, this place has a different vibe. It's no longer a place of holiday happiness and dancing children. Kind of like a demon has taken residence here. Which asks me to ask you, why are you here? Look, kid, I just don't have the energy to match where you're at right now. And what you're doing is completely... I mean, you're talking about a demon curse. It's Christmas goddamn morning, and I just want to get back to my family. Happy fucking holidays. The McCallister children are given a brief security screening to make sure that none of them are Kevin in disguise. A young Jennifer Connolly steps into frame with a puzzled look. Oh, it's you, Buzz. I thought you died in that confrontation with Kevin last night. It's called applying pressure to a laceration, you dumb shit. You should look into it. And on a personal note, I just wanted to mention that Buzz will be killed off before the end of this thing. I just want to put your minds to ease about that. And there still is hope in this world, despite the fact that there are terrible vermin children who just ruin up an entire holiday season just because they want to. And with that... Wait, close the door. We don't want to get wrapped up in his story. And with that, the McCallisters have accomplished the unthinkable. A Christmas, nay, a life without Kevin. They go on their fantastic Paris holiday. So fantastic, it seems, that they refused to ever return to Haddonfield. And as the family's years of bliss drift away, Kevin's years of maddening solitude give him plenty of time to become well acquainted with his newly minted psychosis. 23 years of isolation, sitting in a room, staring at a wall, not seeing the wall, seeing past it, seeing this night, this God-forsaken night in the year of infamy, 2016, when Kevin McCallister finds a conveniently unlocked door and escapes from the Haddonfield Institute just in time for Christmas. Over fences, through fields, and civic centers, he lurches forward in near-naked conditions. Kevin follows a mysterious familial compass in his mind, and if he stays on course, he'll end up where this whole nightmare began. We arrive at the present as we smash cut to interior McCallister family home, 2016, night. The door explodes inward, revealing Kevin McCallister, now of gargantuan size, idling in the doorframe. Home Alone, Homecoming. And Kev's eyes are, well, they're bulging with anger as he creeps into the abandoned, weather-torn shanty he once called a home. He, of course, expected to crash the Christmas festivities already in progress, but it's painfully clear that nobody has been here to throw any sort of festivities in some time. It's all the same. But where's Lenny? Where's Fuller and Peter? Where are you guys? Skipper, Peanut, Jennifer, come on out. Kev does a quick once-over of the old place. And it's for certain that the house was abandoned that very morning some 23 years ago, rendering it an unexpected time capsule of 1993 nostalgia. Everything's there that you remember, it's just a little worn down now. And there's some vines and stuff, and a ton of water damage, but it's like a cool beat-up old home that you remember. It has character now. Kevin finds photographs of his family still placed above the mantel. Faces of people that he once tolerated, to put it politely. His auntie and Uncle Dumbshit, Papa Mac and Mama Mac. He posing with his prize stallion, of course, and Mama with her luxurious gold and pursed lips. He can't take another blessed second of it. He can't do it any longer, so he punches his fist through each of the frames, nearly destroying the load-bearing wall behind them. All right, I gotta collect my thoughts here. Kevin says aloud, now comfortable with verbalizing his every tortured thought. What happens when you finally get everything you've ever wanted, only to find out that you've been sabotaged again? And that true happiness may just be a concept we strive for, but can never truly achieve. Kevin had become a bit of a downer, and somewhat verbose from all those years locked away in that horrific prison, that Chateau d'If for all you Christo freaks. But who could blame him? Hell, I'd like to see anyone go through those same conditions, and not create like 7 alternate personalities just to cope with the loneliness. Hallucinations have become a daily chore for Kev, but simple games of, is this really happening, or is this just a goof, help pass the time and kind of put a fun little spin on the horrific reality that your mind may be intentionally C-blocking you from achieving any happiness. Kevin perceives a wicked man's face, formed by embers dancing in the wind. The visage is almost discernible, but Kevin just can't face these demons today, and he is off. That foreboding voice returns, though, and it is the only thing he hears, this time to soothe his animal spirit, telling him to focus, telling him to take a goddamn minute out of his busy day and just sit down and ask himself honestly, what do you want out of all this? You know, what is it? If not this, then what will satiate this renegade spirit? I want revenge on my family, he says out loud. He focuses his dark third eye on the family that abandoned him, on Lenny, on Peter, Buzzard, Diana, Skipper, Reggie, Esther, Maeve, on Mama and Papa, and Uncle Dumbshit. Psychically, he begins to pull the strings that will draw his adopted family back to this drafty old home. And when they get here, it'll be my biggest trap yet, he says, in reference to the 2 other Christmases where he converted a domicile into a big booby trap meant to hurt and maim adults that Kevin doesn't like. Well, I guess he is gonna do it all over again, one more time, for old time's sake, I guess. He's pumped, to say the least. Drunk on his new dark psychic powers, he gives himself permission to peruse the west wing of the mansion without Buzz's watchful eye. And you know he hits up that treasure chest first. Silver and gold, riches untold. But what's this? Chekhov brand TNT sticks? Well, Kev doesn't mean to be funny here, but he says aloud, I will save these for later. Kev takes a moment to sober up and remembers that for Christmas one year, Buzz received, as a gift if you can believe this, the installation of an armory, out of which Kev makes a smart choice to grab a bazooka. Out back, by the shed, he imagines a firing squad of his most hated foes, his family. But for some odd reason, like a dream, it was his family, but it was also famous athletes. Hitting that ball and slamming that dunk. Well, he disintegrates them all with a guided missile. I guess he needed to blow off some steam. Comfort foods. For some of us, it's sweet treats and glistening meats. But for Kev, well, he dives back into what became an obsession while he was locked away, Buzz's compendium of snuff films. How could he have left all these gems behind, he thinks. He finds a tape with a note from Buzz. Hey, Kev, check this one out. It'll mess you up, all right? It says, he dives right in, and he notices an old man and a young man squaring off in kind of a gunfight, like an old OK Corral style gun thing. The old man has a withered old face. He feels like he might have seen him before. Maybe he's got one of those faces, one of those friendly old faces. But something sticks with Kev. Something about this old man reminds him of himself. He watches him with a careful angling of a gun. He takes aim, and he kills that young man right there, in the middle of the ice skating rink. Little children are witness to the pools of blood that will need to be cleaned up with a rented Zamboni. The old man smiles his wicked smile, and Kev has had enough. He calls out psychically to his family one more time. We're close, on Mama McCallister's eyes as a wave of dread comes over her. Do you feel that? Do you feel that regretful feeling? Deep in your soul, wake up, I'm talking to you. Do you ever get that feeling like you might have done something, good in your life? You're talking to the number one bad boy here. Have we ever given to a charity or anything like that? What is this, pop quiz day? Right? We would remember if we adopted a child once. No, that's it. I raised those beautiful horses like they were my sons. Yeah. But Mama McCallister hasn't scratched that itch just yet. She begins to theorize what she would name an unloved child. Gordy, Leroy, or maybe even Kevin. With faith like a child, Kevin pressed forward with his plan to convert his home into a large contraption that would ensnare his wicked family. He spent the morning working out the kinks of an ingenious new feature that allows Kev to jettison the deceased bodies of his family out of the front door at high speed, spraying what's left of them out onto the lawn as if the house were chewing and spitting them out. It's a flashy addition for sure. Ambitious, yeah, of course. A little showy? Yeah, it is. Will it make the final build? I'd be surprised. Well, Mama McCallister was inconsolable, as you can imagine, and everyone lent a kind word to help soothe her pain. Well, at least your last name's not dumb shit, and you don't look like me, he adds. Well, your problem is easy to solve, she says. You could just kill yourself today, and you wouldn't have to be you, and you wouldn't have to look like that. I have. I've tried many, many times. It never sticks and never works. Well, back at the house, all covered in snow, someone is lurking. Someone we know. When what to my wandering eyes should appear but a hospital van and two permanent jackasses. It's Harry, the burglar, and Marv, the tall one. For fear of losing his job at the Haddonfield Institute for the Criminally Nutso, Harry the burglar has set himself off on a midnight errand to find Kev McCallister and bring him back before anyone notices that his incompetence had let him free. They go to his old neighborhood, and he shows him that old trick where, you point at the houses and the lights go on, except, it's 23 years later and nobody lives here anymore, and those lights will never turn on again. Well, that's the house over there, Harry the burglar says. That was the McCallister house where we had that terrible night. Marv's brain does what it can. Oh, yeah, I remember that. That was fun. We should try that again. We are doing it again. We just, pay attention, all right? It had been a while since Harry had hung out with Marv, and he remembered that Marv was more or less the Lenny to his George, and he gave him a break. Inside, Kevin is wrapped up watching some raw footage of a home invasion gone wrong. The terrorists dressed up as Santa, a sinister metaphor of how he views his parents at the moment, but he's dozing off into dreamland, dreaming of a perfect world where he gets revenge on Christmas morning in some sort of evil reversal Christmas miracle. Hey, it can happen. A guy can dream. The only thing that ever bothers me is their gibberish when they start raving on and on, Marv says about mental patients. The irony just doesn't connect here. When suddenly, a noise from outside wakes Kev from his deep slumber as they begin to, it's their phrase, case the joint. I don't know. I don't want to use it incorrectly. And Kevin sees their dastardly silhouettes dance across an open window. Well, he better snap into action right now because they are coming up the rear. They will go down, down, down into the caverns deep below the West Wing. And thank God for Kevin's creativity because he turns on the gas and, Kev, those pipes haven't been used in 23 years. You're going to flood the entire place with, oh my God, those guys got to get out of there. A little spark could send everyone flying in every single direction. Harry makes a smart decision and decides to bolt because of the gas. All right, well, let's get out of here, Marv. Now watch your step, honey. From inside, Kevin hears the two voices, crystal clear, like a memory that never faded away. It's Harry the burglar, and Marv the tall one. Oh, shit, he says aloud, and here we go again. Back in Paris, under Kev's control, the McCallisters have gotten themselves dressed and packed and ready to head back to America. And they know that the only way that they can stop this psychic pull, this Shining's curse, is to cut it off at the source, you know? You gotta call in a drone strike or maybe even a sniper rifle. I don't know, get someone on the ground to take care of Kevin himself. And look through my stuff. I've got some high-level clearance information in there. You should be able to find some brutal killers. And don't forget to mention that we have AAA. I mean, we just always forget to mention that. We never get the discounts. Kev was somewhat embarrassed by his immediate cowardice. And he begins to do that thing where when something goes bad and then you formulate a better way of saying it and you come up with the ingenious, perfect thing to say. Well, Kevin was doing one of those, and he stepped outside, ready to stand up to Harry and Marv, ready to tell him that he wasn't afraid anymore, that he was ready to take them on, well, that he was an adult, and he could talk to them face to face. Well, it wasn't Harry at all. It was just your mind, Kev. Suddenly, a magic mirror forms in front of him. He sees himself. He sees the man from the video, and he sees the old man from his youth. Suddenly morphing all into one character. He sees the worst of himself. He sees the potential, and he just can't take it anymore. He runs back into the house, afraid for his own safety. Hell, his own sanity.
Haddonfield drone strikes.
Hi, I'm calling from Paris. Can you hear me? I'm at the airport. I'm sorry.
All right. I'm gonna have to transfer you over to international drone strike.
No, you don't have to transfer me. Okay, wait. Oh. Apparently, I gotta go through the international drones. Wait, hello? Hello?
Haddonfield International Drone Strike. This is Toby today. How may I direct your drone strike?
Okay, hi. I'm calling from the Paris International Airport. We're on our way over there, but we just wanted to send a group of maybe ground missionaries to check out and see if the old McCallister place is, well, there might be a convict in there somewhere.
Okay, escaped convict. Okay, old McCallister. McCallister, that wouldn't happen to be the one where that kid went insane, Is that the old haunted house that everyone's afraid of?
No, it's not haunted. It can't be haunted if you...
Okay, I'm gonna have to transfer you over to our haunted house division, ma'am.
Motherfucking buttery Jesus. Hello? Oh, that's cute. You should hear this music that they have for their waiting song, okay? Remember when a drone strike was so goddamn easy, you just, send a... Hello?
Haunted house division, this is Toby today. How may I direct your haunted house?
Well, listen up, Toby, because I'm only going to say this once.
Yeah.
I'm Mama McCallister, all right? And I erase lives if I want to, and I'm looking right at you. And what I need right now is for you to send over a ground team to kind of case the joint, or, whatever they call it, okay? Just send someone over there right now.
Okay, we do have a ground team in the area. Ground team, can you respond, please? Okay, well, ground team actually makes a really good point here that, even though a horrific event like a mass murder didn't happen, a bad vibe can still haunt a location. So, in that sense, it is essentially haunted. No sign of convict either.
We find Papa McCallister in some sort of before sunrise situation with the girl, which always conveniently just throws itself in his lap these days. He's just that charming, I guess. I don't know. Well, Mama McCallister runs in, and personal feelings are not priority here. She says, look, I don't know what's going on here, but we've got a bigger demon to slay, a bigger demon named Kevin, and I want to get home as soon as I can and take care of it myself if they can't do it for me. So you better have a good life here in Paris with your brand new bride-to-be. You're being fantastically, outrageously understanding about this, and I just wanted to thank you from the bottom of my heart, and we'll always remember you from here from Paris, and the horses are gonna miss you. It'd be great if you came and stopped by and gave them a little pet on their mane. They'd love that. Well, the McCallisters all bid adieu to their former mama, and the kids were pretty jazzed about that because they thought, hell, I'd like 2 Christmases. That'd be pretty cool. Double the presents and all. They said bye to their mama and looked forward to days with Daphne, whoever that was. Well, making your way in this world today takes everything you got, So you gotta get up early, and you gotta shake off the dust of all your fears and meet the day with some sort of, enthusiasm. Kevin gets up and finds a hose out back and does a once-over and takes a broken piece of glass and cuts off his beard and trims some of his hair. He might have cut himself a little bit, and, in fact, you should get some of that looked at. But he did look like a brand new man, a brand new, wet, bleeding man. Well, back in Buzz's territory, a.k.a. the West Wing, the dilapidated, cavernous house was dripping wet and falling apart all over the place. But Kev was drawn there to look for more, of his curiosities. Something was drawing him there, and some of the ceiling started to fall, and the wall falls in, and everything comes crashing down, and Kev almost is completely decapitated. But he looks there. What's that? The glow of a gold glow comes in through the darkness. And what's this? Well, it's the mother lode, Kevin. It's all the money that Buzz has been stealing after all these years, and it's yours now. You're gonna get that house that chews up the people and spits them out. You're gonna get every blessed thing that you want, because you got the budget now, buddy, and you're the director of your own final act. So go do what you want. I'm sorry, it's incredibly exciting in the world of Kevin McCallister, all right? Well, a couple doors down, ransacking their old haunts, so to speak, are the Monster Squad. It's Harry the burglar and Marv the tall one, and they're going apeshit looking for whatever's left. But to their surprise, these aren't homes in a nice neighborhood anymore. These are homes in a rundown, abandoned neighborhood. So the only thing that is of note is some raccoon skulls and some vagrant feces. Not the bounty that Marv was hoping. And he was down and needed guidance. But he knew his friend would be of service. Good old Harry. Hey, Harry, is there anything I can do to help? Anything I can do to give us the burglar's edge? Well, I would start by taking that raccoon carcass off your face as a mask. It's just absolutely troubling, said Harry, the tolerant. Well, Kevin knew that there was always rumor of a black market that goes on in Haddonfield, and it's a kind of you had to know about it through a friend kind of a thing. Well, it was a dark underground market for criminals and such. Well, Kevin heard about it. He made his way downtown. he asked a few people around there, and, he got in pretty easily. He's a pretty shifty-looking character himself. Well, he gets in there and he has some, important questions about some long-lasting fuse for some TNT sticks, and they don't know how long it lasts. And Kevin says, I need it to last a couple days. I need it to, be a fail-safe kind of a thing in case everything goes wrong, so that, a hand! Oh, isn't it weird how the destiny of our family likes to step in whenever we're not ready and shakes us to our very core? Oh, Kev, this is not a hallucination. That is the man from your youth. It's the 100-year-old man with the 100-year-old stare. He sees right through you, right to your sins, and he knows that you're the monster that you've always been. Quick, Jimmy, go tackle that big old monster. Kevin runs outside and runs across the street so he doesn't, get arrested or anything like that. But the cops are hot on his ass. Everyone kind of recognizes him from all the wanted posters all around town. That's the monster, and you need to get him right now, Sheriff. Well, in a very impressive Jason Bourne-esque chase sequence, Kevin is able to, pinch one of the guns off of the security guards, and he lures the cop onto the ice skating rink where a huge family is doing all these ballet tricks. He slides around like Nicolas Cage and gives him a shot right in the ear. Oh my God, the cop thinks I could have died just then. Well, Kevin slides all the way to the other side, throws the gun, and he's off. My God, I could have killed that man. On an ice skating rink, no less. Just like my heroes on the silver screen. I guess I have a path laid out in front of me. A slow, meandering path of a criminal. But Kev, you don't have to run so hot and oh so cold. There's a middle ground, okay? It doesn't have to be life or death every single, thing that you come to realize about yourself. Well, back at Harry's apartment, Marv leaves the place all a giggle. He has a bag full of, fun items and shiny things, and he throws it in the back where, Harry has his stuff. He slides the door, and he gets in and says, that was easy. They weren't even home. I grabbed a bunch of that stuff in there. Harry's like, that's my place. This is all my things. You just burglarized and vandalized my house. Well, I'm a slow fellow, so, yeah, I'll catch up someday. Harry just didn't, have any more patience and let's just get on with it. We gotta go find that kid if I'm gonna keep my job. Well, Kevin, lost in his own, melancholia, is all wrapped up in himself and thinking about all those bad feelings. And he didn't even, oh my God, there's a van coming. Look out, slam on the brakes, Harry. You're almost going to hit that gargantuan monster looming right in front of you. Harry rolls down the window and says, hey, fella, are you a mental patient that just broke out of a hospital? And Kev says, no, I'm another guy. Well, he registers that Harry doesn't even recognize him. Oh my God, I shaved my beard and cut my face and it worked. I should just count my blessings and get the hell out of here. Well, Marv does his best with, his lack of brains, but he says, hey, why don't we follow that guy? He seems to know a little bit about this neighborhood. And Harry agrees. And so they lurch forward into the winter air, and Harry reveals what he wasted his entire Christmas bonus on. That's right, an intercom system on a hospital van. Okay, whenever you're done. Okay, well, Kevin presses on because he never pays no mind to any of mortal man's rules. Harry starts to pick up the pace, and so does Kevin. And Kevin starts pretending that he was mid-jog for some reason, listening to a Walkman, singing along. And Harry's like, that guy wasn't working out at all. He's just bolting as soon as we... Hey,
stop. You weren't working out, were you? Come back here.
Well, Kevin... All right. Well, Kevin wasn't born yesterday, and he remembered from his training as a Cub Scout that if you needed to thwart a burglar, all you had to do was just stay still because their sight is based on movement. And so if you stayed still, and you stayed silent, and you believed in yourself, well, they'll never find you, Kev. Well, they took one look, and they just immediately gave up. Some work ethic, guys. Back at it. I'll see you on the beat. Well, Kevin wins this round. But there's no time to celebrate, Kev. You gotta get up on your feet, and you gotta get back to your house, because those burglars are gonna be back, and you need to hatch a plan to keep them at bay. Well, Kevin, he starts to pull on the strings of local vagrants around the town, and he says to himself, I'm gonna send a psychic evite to every fucking crazy person out there, and I'm gonna fill this house tonight. And when those burglars see it, they're gonna be pissing their pants. Harry and Marv show up right on time and are witness to a raging party on the inside of the McCallister mansion, and they're just completely dumbfounded. I thought this was abandoned. I thought this place was gonna fall over the last time we saw it. Well, inside is a murderer's row and a who's who of all the local methadone clinics. You've got Cedric, you got Oliver, Charles, Danny, MJ, KJ, Charles again, and Danny, and a Tom and another Danny. And at the strings is our master puppeteer, the keeper of our hearts, Kevin McCallister. Just, controlling everyone like they were just, his playthings. Women are dancing, and music is playing, and nobody seems to be having a fun time because it's all, someone else's idea. Nobody wants to be at a vagrant party. Well, the burglars, they haul ass because all they gotta do is take one look at something and then they're convinced. And Kevin knows that that's their weakness, and he'll keep exploiting it as long as they keep falling for it. Back in Paris, we find the McCallister brood trying to get comfortable over at Daphne's place. She throws on an old TV show, something that she thinks that they might like, and it just isn't that interesting. It's in black and white and has no CGI. Uncle Dumbshit comes out with some shrimp, and he tries to bribe the kids into liking him this year. All right, first one to give me a bite wins, or I'll bite you, whoever bites first. The awkwardness is palpable. In the living room, we find Papa McCallister in a before sunset kind of situation. Oh, the Parisians. Their fiery attitudes. Well, Daphne won't even be in the same room as Papa McCallister, and she calls from a phone booth around the corner as she negotiates the terms of stabling 12 horses in her small apartment. Well, the mood amongst the kids was pretty grim, and they were all worried that Kev would be pulling on their heartstrings soon enough, pulling them on in and chopping them on up. But Buzz had a different feeling about the whole thing. Now check this out. Now, we were all winners in that household, right? And he was more or less the runt. And now we expect him to run a rampage because he has these brand new psychic powers, okay? He was trapped in a room for 23 years, and he has had no practice whatsoever on how to kill people. You expect him to know exactly what he's doing? Well, I have no faith in the kid. A vote of no confidence from older brother Buzz. But did we expect anything less? Well, no, it was pretty on brand. Meanwhile, Kevin was hatching an ingenious scheme to unload a prank on one of his neighborhood foes. Well, we can all agree that Kevin is a feisty, scrappy, creative little guy. Well, he came up with a way to enjoy one of his favorite films, one of his favorite disgusting, dirty films, and recontextualize it in a new way, using audio and big old speakers and stuff to make it seem real, make it seem really real. So that this time when he played it, it's like a brand new story is being unfolded before your eyes. Well, he tricks this guy into believing that it was completely actually happening inside the kitchen. I mean, he is a pizza boy. They're not the smartest bulbs in the world. Well, he begins to play the audio, and through his super-duper surround sound system, he begins to pump out the tunes that completely convince little Nero outside that there is a jerk with a gun. Well, he's not going to back down. And is Kevin going to back down? Well, I don't think so. He's got a whole bunch of guns inside. He's going to back it up with the real thing. Well, little Nero, he just can't take it, and he spills his ass right backward, and he falls into the snow and runs off. Well, Kevin opens up one of the windows and starts taking actual shots at him with the shotgun. He clips his heels, he gets a little bit of his backside, but Nero makes it back into the car and peels off like a Formula One racer, ready to go home for the day. And all of that, Kevin, for a large cheese pizza. I don't know, we put a man's life on the line today. But that's your decision. That's your moral balance. Well, as Kevin was having his cheese pizza dreams come true all over his blessed mouth, his adopted mama was still stuck in transit, trying to find the next possible flight to Haddonfield. But she's having kind of a hard time because, have you ever noticed it's a lot of traffic during the holidays? You could have planned this, months in advance, but you can't squabble about the details now. Well, Mama finds another older couple, whose kid also needs to be murdered, and they're on the way there too. So, they can empathize, but they were there first, and, But she begins to harness a dark power, a power that Kevin is all too familiar with, and she watches them fold like paper dolls and become her puppets as she says, "Those tickets are mine. End of discussion, because Mama says so." And it worked. Oh, Johnny, you always do deliver, don't you? Unlike Kevin's new psychic powers, which have yet to show their usefulness. And where are they, by the way? I mean, I know that you wish for them to come on Christmas morning and everything, but Christmas does come early to some little girls and some little boys, if they were good this year. Well, Kevin remembers a witch doctor he met on the inside, and he told him this cool new move called the Kiss of Death. And if everything was not going his way, it could be a Hail Mary play that would send things in his direction. Well, Kev sends out a psychic kiss to his family, and he wishes them a nighty-night. Well, look who just woke up on the right side of the bed this time, and is ready to greet the day with a big smile and a little tune. Well, it's Kev McCallister with a changed attitude. I guess that kiss of death made him feel a little more comfortable about getting what he wants this year for Christmas. But Kev, you can't be parading around as someone who's likable and lovable, humming a little tune and all. Because remember, at the end of the day, you're still a monster. And the incredible weight of that revelation should be enough to crumple all of your hopes and dreams. But never you mind, Kevin, because we got your back here, all right? You go have a good day, and you keep that song in your throat, because positivity is at a premium in this world. And anyone who can find happiness, well, you just, count your blessings. Well, Kevin found a closet full of his papa's old garb, and he put it on and thought he looked like a normal person for once. And so he went into town, and oh, shit. It's Sally, your crush from grade school, and you never called her back, did you? Well, Kevin, if you're gonna make it out of this, you better pull out an Oscar-worthy performance, because you better have an alibi, you better have a backstory, hell, you better have an entire life to draw upon if you're gonna make it out of this. So play it cool. Play it very, very cool.
Hey, I know you. You're that convict everyone's looking for.
Convict? Please. If I had a penny for every time that someone said that I was a convict, you know what? How about you get your own $500 bill and you just get back to fucking work, all right? Mind your business. I mean, what are you, a cop or something?
I'm not a cop. I can be.
Well, Kevin had never felt the advance of a lover, and so he had better think quick on what to say next.
Wait a second. So you're telling me you're not the Kevin McCallister?
Ma'am, I don't mean to be frightening, but you need to do two things. Either get your eyes checked, or you need to look out, because I can fucking end you today. A close call for sure, but did he need to threaten that poor woman? No, he didn't feel stellar about it. But when she sabotaged his bags, he looked down and thought, well, fair is fair. After a long, reflective walk home, Kevin thought to himself that he would never trust women again. And so he set off to do his own laundry, to prove to the world that he was his own mama, his own papa. Hell, he was the king of his own kingdom. And the demons that tried to oppress him, the demons that tried to hold him down, well, they had very little power, did they? Because they were just figments of his imagination, and he can shut them off whenever he goddamn pleases. But oh, what a revelation it is when we realize that the demons in our hearts and in our heads are manufactured by our hearts and by our heads. Well, Harry and Marv return to find the McCallister home all tranquil and vacant, which is surprising to Harry, because he, of all people, should know that vagrant orgies last at least 2 to 3 days. And there's no way they could have cleaned up and gotten the hell out of here so quickly. Well, in a moment of good faith, Harry recruits Marv the Tall to go inside and poke around and see if there's any stragglers that might know where Kevin had, lurched off to in the night. Oh, Marv, this is your moment. This is your Magnum PI moment. You've always wanted to take your burglar skills and invert them into some sort of hero. Well, you can do this now today. Find the boy, and you'll win Harry's heart. He kicks through the door and produces a hole that is too small for someone of his stature. Well, Kevin switches on the audio once again, and Marv, he believes it. My God, he believes it's real. Oh, Kevin. The audience requires an encore performance, but can you live up to the standards that you set the other night? Well, Marv is on the hook, and he is wriggling. I better heighten the stakes in a logical and earned way, Kevin says aloud. He produces a single TNT stick from his back pocket. Just one, because that shit gets the job done pretty easily. And he cuts some time-release fuse enough so that he can get the hell out of there. And in stunning synchronicity, the TNT merges with the audio of the film, creating an experience unlike anything. The film plays past the kill shot and we're treated to a moment of serendipity, where Kevin receives a little bit of knowledge that he didn't have before. A kind of a snuff film Easter egg, I guess. Keep the change, you filthy animal. All right, now, Kevin, I have to go before the cops get here. They're gonna find you a new family, a better family that can take care of you. I swear to God, we are gonna have a family Christmas after all. One day.
There he is! Fire!
Well, Kevin was at a complete loss of words here. He had never seen that part of the tape, and yet he felt like he had always been there. And the name, Kevin. Was I that boy? He says aloud. Was that me there that day? Only time will tell. And you don't own a time machine, dear Kevin. So muster up some patience, all right? Back in Monster Country, Harry is tending to the many, many burns and boils that adorn Marv's legs, arms, chest, and buttocks. He was in that TNT blast after all, and it is pretty painful, and he's going to be going into the final battle with, a handicap. We find Mama McCallister, half drunk and half insane, at a Raleigh-Durham airport bar. And boy, is it late. And boy, have the bathrooms not been attended to. Well, Mama McCallister polishes off her 17th whiskey sundae and takes a long look at the bartender and says, "Is there any chance that I'm getting out of this hellhole? Can you name one person that you've ever heard moved out of here or even found a ticket that left this hellhole of a city? Raleigh-Durham Airport, you should be ashamed of yourself." Well, Jason Alexander didn't take it personally because she had identified that she was speaking to him as if he were the airport personified. He looks to his employees off to the side and he does that cuckoo thing where you spin your finger around your ear. But Mama McCallister is kind of, twined up in her own madness at the moment and doesn't see that she's being mocked from afar. But that's okay. We all have our dark moments, Mama. We all have the darkness. But when the light creeps up behind us, it may be startling. But that's okay. We just have to be willing to reach out our hand and accept good tidings of great joy from strangers. Howdy, ma'am. I don't mean to eavesdrop over here. I just wanted to, extend a hello and shake your hand. My name's Gus. Maybe you heard of me? Gus, the helicopter pilot. My bus ads, they run all over town here. I have a 14 group of mercenaries. We take out children in the area. Anyway, we have the most confirmed kills in under a month. 14,000. It's a world record. People usually remember me by then. Anyway, I overheard your problem when you were talking to yourself over at the bar over there. Well, we could drop you over Haddonfield in under a couple of days if you're willing to be with a bunch of brutes and be up in the air and everything like that. The helicopter man's complete lack of chill around anything that was female should have been a turnoff to Mama. But he was somewhat endearing, and his truthfulness and honesty was welcome in this moment. And boy, did she need some sleep. And boy, did she need some relief from sleeping inside that bathroom. Now listen here, Gus. I am down to clown, all right? You get me to Haddonfield, and I'll get you super paid. Are we clear? Well, the mere thought of money and murder sends beautiful smiles over both of their faces, and it was decided that they would leave by helicopter early in the morning. Despondent and emotionally unavailable, Kevin trots his little booties through the icy snow as he gives himself the morning to digest what he had heard on the video the night before. Am I making a mistake by drawing a connection between me and the boy in the video? He says aloud, getting Harry and Marv's attention in the van across the street. Am I wasting my time by drawing a connection between me and the old man in the video? Well, that's a piece of the puzzle I don't have yet. Well, Kevin keeps his mind busy by preparing a wickedly reimagined Christmas tree that doubles as a full-sized crucifix meant to hold a human man. And if his structural integrity was on point, he would be able to hold Buzz up there, given that he hasn't let himself go too bad. But oh, Kevin, your monologuing has not only gotten a little long these days, it's gotten a little loud because you've woken Harry the burglar and Marv the tall one, and now they know of your existence. And they plan, they plot, and they plunder to come back at 9 p.m., the burgling hour. And Marv, you were always good with the net, so remember to bring that with you. Well, Kevin, you really shit my pants on this one. The Monster Squad is looking to make a jump on you, and you haven't even finished your booby trap house yet. You're a couple days behind, and you were never going to make your ambitious goals. So, what are you going to do? Protect the house? Protect the integrity of your plan? Are you going to let these guys win? Well, no. You were always going to win. This story is bent in your favor because you are a hero here, and you have justice to give, and Harry and Marv have huge fucking targets on their back, and you're going to take advantage of it.
Hey, does anyone want to come up here and fly the helicopter for me? I need to take a piss. Hey, no, I'm not comfortable with that, okay? Sure you don't want to take the controls? I mean, it's no problem at all. I'll let you do a loop-de-loop. Okay. So I'll hold it. I'm just gonna turn my radio off, alright?
Well, it was safe to say that our little Kev was not a religious man. I mean, hell, he was his own damn god at this point, you know. But he did bow to one throne, if not his own, to the high priestess of the holidays himself, Kris Kringle, a.k.a. S-Claus. Well, he had to go to him, his most trusted of fellows, in his time of need. He hadn't been for confession in nearly 23 years, and he had a lot to unload on the dude. But you might be wondering, what is a full-grown man doing wandering the streets of a deserted town, looking for a figment of our imaginations? Well, here's the thing. Kevin never stopped believing. Somewhere in the 23 years between now and all the way back then when he was 7, well, no one never told him. No one never told him to stop believing. And at this point, he can't, he won't, and he don't stop believing. Once in front of S-Claus himself, Kevin unloads a sinister plot that we, the listener and viewer, are all too familiar with. He told him about how weird it was when he found that open door at the hospital, and he creeped out and ran across town and found his old house, and he's been there, and there's been a satanic curse that's pulling his family there, and he's not sure if they're going to show up or not. Well, Kevin tells him the entire plot of what we've been watching so far. And Santa Claus, well, he doesn't know what to do. He's not qualified for this kind of counsel. Well, he performs a cute little communion and says, Kev, if you want that red bicycle, you gotta get out there and steal it yourself. And he goes off into the night, never to be seen of again. Well, Kev was understandably a little miffed, because he'd rather have his family killed and all. But a red Huffy did sound pretty rad, and that would be appreciated if it did show up tomorrow morning. Well, Kevin began to hallucinate, or maybe it was just his mind's eye. At this point, it's unclear. But he envisions a Christmas morning with the entire family in attendance. And he's there, and music is playing. Sweet flute music from all the boys. And the girls are dancing. And there are no strings attached, because they want to be there. They want to spend time with you, Kevin. They want to have a Christmas with you for once. But it's only in your mind and not actually happening. But Kevin snaps out of this reverie when he hears that dark, foreboding voice return, that dark voice of the soul, telling him to come home. The jigsaw pieces in Kevin's brain are slowly falling into place. Well, this isn't my home. Home is where Mama is. Home is where Papa is. Unless you mean in the sense that God is the Father, oh, forget it. And Kevin just goes inside the church. Inside, the twinkling lights and the jingle jangle of Christmas music create a holiday atmosphere that is almost psychedelic in how beautiful it is. And Kev can't tell if he's still wrapped up in a hallucination, or if these hypnotic images are some Christmas miracle bestowed upon him like frankincense unto a babe in a manger. And suddenly, he's out there on the ice skating rink, holding some man's hand. The man from the grisly film. The man with the withered old face. He envisions being that boy on that brisk December morn. Oh, Kevin, don't torture yourself. You don't know if you were that boy or not. But it would answer a lot of questions if that ended up to be true. But who was the man? Who was the father that abandoned you all those years ago for a life of crime? Is it the same voice that calls to you in your time of need? And your psychic time? Oh my God, was he there the entire time? Oh my God. It's the old man from the neighborhood. It's the South Bend Shovel Slayer. It's Old Man Marley. And on closer inspection, it kind of looks like the guy from the video. The murderer who killed the young man. Huh, except he has a beard now. A gnarly old beard. It looks good on him. You mind if I sit down here? Well, what, was Kevin gonna say no? You know I'm your father, right? I think you pieced it together, okay? And that woman up there, that's your mother. We've been renegade criminals for many, many years, and We just wanted to stay out of your business so you could live a life of peace and happiness. But we can tell that you haven't been happy in a long, long time. Well, Kevin is growing impatient. Okay, let me get this straight. I'm just trying to get caught up here. You're my father? Is that what I'm led to believe? Well, Papa Alpha, as he'd like to be called, he goes on to explain that when Kevin psychically pulled on his adopted family to come back to Haddonfield, he accidentally pulled on the strings of his real Mama and Papa, Papa Alpha and Mama Alpha. We gave you those dark psychic powers, Kevin. I mean, how else did you get them? And family is a tricky thing. I mean, how you feel about your family is a very complicated thing, especially when you come from a family of monsters. And deep down, you'll always love your monsters, though they nip at your soul a little with their sharp teeth. Papa Alpha absolutely was a monologuer, and we can see where little Kevin got this trait. Well, Kev, he throws his 2 cents into the hobo's hat. You want to love your family, you know. Though, you know you could hurt them as much as they hurt you. Well, Papa Alpha dropped some serious knowledge on Kevin's ass. You know, I've been watching you all your life, and you've been branded a murderer since the age of 7. But let me ask you this. What's your body count? Because I see nothing. I see no bodies hitting the floor. Well, by God, he was right. Kevin never actually killed anybody in all his years. He cut his brother's throat, and he recovered pretty quickly after that. He shot at a pizza boy. He shot at a cop. He never actually killed anybody. Which means your story is long from being over, Kevin. And you don't have to worry, because maybe you're not cursed by some knockoff DNA. Well, this is great news, he says. Maybe my story is going to be a good one, and it's going to end on a high note. Well, I hate to break it to you, Kevin, but I'm kind of a monk when it comes to this dark psychic power stuff, and I've seen the end of this story. And you absolutely are a murderer. I hate to tell you that. But spoiler alert, you're gonna have blood on your hands. Papa Alpha goes on to give some fatherly advice now that he scored some overdue FaceTime with little Kev. He has some pro tips about the construction effort and things that he's noticed about the house from afar. I mean, he doesn't mean to critique every last, nail or anything like that, but you could support some beams a little bit better. And Papa Alpha wishes him good luck in his endeavors, and this satisfies Kevin. Kevin knows his path to revenge will probably involve a stop at Papa Alpha's door once more as well, and that warms his heart. But like every visit from your parents, it grows stale after a short little time. Well, Kevin wasn't being rude, but he'd like to have his personal space back, and he had run out of pleasantries to share with his father. I mean, what is he going to tell that fishing story again? We just met about 2 minutes ago. He shakes his hand and says, good luck with killing those morons. I'll see you whenever. Kev has an idea. Oh yeah, I have a contraption that is part slip and slide, part guillotine, and it cuts people's heads off. Any tips? I'm a pistol to the head kind of guy. I wouldn't know. You can look it up on Google. Well, Kevin wonders, what is a Google? But he hears the church bells ring-a-ding-ding, telling him he's late and he had better get home if he's going to eat his shelled pasta before Monster Mania begins at 9 p.m. And the clanging of the church bells reminds Kevin that there is kind of a ticking clock at play here. He has a finite amount of time to get them out of his hair. It's kind of like that one show where they count down time the entire time. And what was it called? I guess we'll never know. Well, turn on the light, Kevin. Come in here. I want you to see this. Look at all these gadgets, all these half-imagined ideas, all these works in progress that you just start up and never finish. All right? You have to clamor them all together into one big battle plan. All right? You gotta pick up the pieces off the floor, and we gotta make something of this, all right? You have a better workflow than this usually. Now that's using your brain, Kevin. Napalm on the front of your lawn. Yeah, they're gonna love that one. Oh, and the hot doorknob. Who didn't see that coming? It's his favorite prank. It's not effective, Kevin, but it gets the job done, and it leaves a permanent impression. But Kevin, this is just between you and me. If I were you, I would be unrelenting to those burglars. As unrelenting as a steamroller. I would go full tilt. If I was given 100%, I'd go for 30% more, because these guys deserve it. 3 times you've tried to squash them, and they just keep coming back? Well, they're just asking for it at this point. So turn on the lights, Kev. Cook your Velveeta shells and cheese, and set your little plate, because this is the entree that you ordered, and you're gonna choke down, whether you like it or not. Well, Marv and Harry park outside and prepare themselves for the burgling event of their lifetime. It's either now or never, Harry says. And he produces a golden net for Marv. And it's the top-of-the-line model. A token of his friendship and gratitude. Oh, what a softie. Well, Kevin, you better say your prayers tonight, because you're going into battle. And this might be your last meal. Hell, this might be your last night on Earth. So just soak it up while you can. Because at the strike of 9, you know what show we like to watch. Well, it's the Monster Show. And you're starring in it, Kevin. So blow out the lights. Go get that bazooka and get into position, because it's time to defend your house. It's time to defend your life. Hell, it's time to defend your Christmas. Well, Harry and Marv show up with an optimism that is just downright irresponsible, because they're not wearing any protective clothing. I mean, not even hockey pants or inflammable stockings or something. I mean, if this low-life persona that you are clinging on to is so important, well, I would start to plan ahead and get ready for these kinds of things. But you seem to put almost no effort into the lifestyle that you've chosen. And look at you, getting shot in the nuts all over again. Well, this happened the first time around, didn't it, Harry? The first time that Kevin was home alone. Well, Marv suggested you get a cup this time. And you didn't do it when you were at the Sports Authority. It was right there, and it was on sale. Well, Marv bought one, and he charges straight into the arms of the angels. And guess what? He's willing to take a kill shot for Harry. And he does. Right between the eyes. Well, it's just a high-powered BB gun, so it's gonna leave a permanent crater there, but in your line of work, your looks aren't the most important thing. Well, Harry gets up and rounds to the front, while Marv takes the caverns, because they look interesting and kinda cool. Up front, Harry runs like there isn't a booby trap just waiting for him. And Kevin, oh, please consider not burning this man alive. Oh, you used the napalm for its slippery properties. Oh, what a reversal of expectations. In the caverns, Marv falls like a silly seal going all the way down on the rocks and slippery things down there. He nearly completely knocks his head straight off. And it wasn't even a booby trap. It was just some wet terrain. Well, I guess Marv is even thwarted by nature, of all things. And the concussion is right. He ought to take a little nap right now. So he treats himself to a tiny slumber, and he's going to get right back to work after that. Well, up in the front, we find Super Mario back on level 1, and he's struggling to get through, and he's almost using up all of his men. And he thinks he knows the combination this time, but you get sent back all the way to level 1 if you screw up. And Marv, he doesn't know how long he's been out, or where the gash in his forehead came from, or why there's so much blood all around him. It's a slippery situation down here. Well, he tries to get in through one of the walls. He digs and digs and digs, and then looks off to the side and finds a conveniently placed door that is just straight up open. You could have just gone in that way. Once inside, Marv finds the hive of Kevin's madness, all of his unfinished projects, and a bunch of time-release fuse that is zipping and sparkling around the room. I would compare it to maybe if Rube Goldberg had gone insane and started becoming the Unabomber. It would look something like that. Well, Marv stupidly pulls on a cord and sticks around to find out that there's an entire piano that falls straight on his head. But it's one of those high school pianos, so it's not one of the full-size ones, so Marv can take the load pretty easy. Well, Harry wakes up and he says, "Look, I've got the game genie. I know all the codes. I'm going to get to the end of level 1, and I'm going to beat that boss." Well, he gets to the boss, and he's pretty proud of himself. So proud, it seems, that he doesn't even see the hot doorknob, and he grabs it with the same hand as before. Oh, Harry, you spent so many years soaking that thing in olive oil, hoping someday that the scar went away. Well, then you just stacked another scar right on top of it. Well, you just got double stamped by the McCallisters. And every time you use your hand for your wicked desires, you're going to think of Kevin. And I'm not trying to be rude here. I'm just trying to be a faithful reporter. But after having an entire piano dropped on your face, you're going to look like the Elephant Man, kind of. And the swelling around your eyes is not going to let you see the railroad spike that's being driven through the bottom of your foot. I'm sorry, Marv. It looks like it really hurts. Well, Harry tries the side entrance because it looks available and the doorknob is icy cool, just the way he likes it. But did you stop to think that this might be bait? And Kevin is just waiting for you on the other side with the blowtorch or something? Have you ever considered that? And could you consider not just freezing up and just allowing yourself to be boiled alive? Well, Harry, I hope you like that knit hat, because it's been fused into your skull. And say goodbye to your hair. You're going to have a terrible pattern. Just imagine the kind of hairstyles that you'll be able to have with that unsightly, ungodly mess. Well, we find Marv in a very unenviable situation. He's gotten both of his feet stuck in 2 separate bear traps. It's an embarrassing folly that I'm sure he absolutely regrets. And can you imagine the pain? 2 bear traps on both of your feet. Well, Marv was a strong man, and his hands were mighty, but he just could not bear to get them open. It was just too much pain. And he clickety and he clacketied, and he tried to do the best he could because he wanted to win Harry's affection. And he sees an opportunity to win it, and he's going to take it. Well, God bless you, Marv. Well, Harry is inside, and he believes Kevin is on the other side of the door, and not some prank that's going to make him look really foolish. Well, Harry bursts open and gets a face full of eel venom. It's a sticky situation that is going to sting for several days down the line. And the talcum powder, in combination, creates a super glue that sticks his face in a permanent ew face. Well, Marv, you can't see it, but below you is more bear traps, and you're about to double your pleasure and double your fun. You just got quadruple bear trapped. But you need to let him suffer. It's going to be character building down the line. Marv, you can do this, honey. I know the pain, but we'll get you out of this. The monsters find themselves in the middle of the house, and they assess their many injuries. Oh, Marv, how do I look? And Marv carefully replies, "You look like you're gonna hate mirrors for the rest of your life." Well, Kevin beckons the men to come take a try at the ball bearing room, and they fail miserably because they're so small they couldn't see them at all. Well, Harry and Marv, I hope you like Miley Cyrus, because Kevin is about to serve up a ballad that is perfect for your faces. In crashing through the wall is a wrecking ball that levels Marv all the way to the ground, and Harry thinks he's exempt, but he gets one too. Well, they have a little moment there on the ground, and it's worth listening into. You know, we can stop this at any time, Marv. I'm willing to say stop if this is too much for you. Well, Marv is a total trooper, and he recites the best friend pledge. I'm willing to do whatever you want to do. And Harry wants to push forward because he'd just rather kill Kevin and, lose his job and everything and put himself in prison. Because at this point, Harry hasn't had a win in a long time, and his scars are just embarrassing at this point. And Kevin is upstairs ordering a goddamn pizza because he's ready to celebrate. Well, the Monster Squad has had enough, and they're gonna show Kevin that they want it more than he does. Well, Kevin panics just a little bit, and Marv reaches out and grabs him by the ankle. And Kevin, you are ensnared. You better do something quick. He reaches down into his soul, reaches deep, and he plucks from the nether regions the darkest thought that he can. He plucks it from the nothing and places it right where it's going to hurt the most, in Marv's little brain. The incredible weight of knowing that you're going to die alone is too much for him, and he repels the spell onto Harry, because he can take it. He's a stronger-willed man. In a beautiful moment, and a meditative one at that, Kevin says a little prayer and sends out a dispatch to Papa Alpha. He thanks him for having his back this entire time. He couldn't have done it without him and everything. Well, Marv, what have you done this time? He thought Harry was dead, and he started performing his own autopsy. Well, he's not dead, Marv, and you know nothing about medical science. So what business do you have opening up people's chests and, massaging their hearts, or whatever you were planning on doing, you stupid man? Well, Harry gets up and grabs a crowbar and says, "I was never dead, you idiot. Have you ever done the mirror test? Now get the hell out of here." Kevin begins to receive a dispatch from Papa Alpha, wherever he may lie. And he says to Kevin, "I've had your back since day one, man. And guess what? It was a week ago tonight that I unlocked that door at the sanitarium, or the insanitary, whatever, the medical hospital that you were at. And I'm glad I did that, because we wouldn't be here tonight on Christmas Eve." And in this moment, Kevin thinks to himself, he's never been closer to a father figure, and he's just thankful that he's been given the opportunity to see what family truly is. And maybe he was right all those years ago, that he would have a family Christmas eventually, even if he had to kill his way to get it. Well, he didn't have to kill anybody. And here they all are, a family. The people who you surround yourself with year after year, even if you have to endure them or, sidestep them from being killed by them. Well, Harry and Marv were those people, and Kevin was forever bonded with them. We return to Harry and Marv aloft above a huge vat of boiling oil, a deep fryer, set to kill. And they're up there on the string, and they see Kevin with a comically large scissor, the kind that you cut a ribbon with. And Harry says, "Can you remind me how we thought this was the easiest way to get to Kevin?" Well, Kevin does a little snipperoo, and the two fall into the vat and get all corn-dogged up before they look at each other, and they say in scary unison, "This has got to be the most pain that I've ever endured, ever. My hat is off to Kevin." Well, Kevin was off and ready for the burglars at the next step of his grand scheme. He created an alternate route, a kind of facade on top of the house that is right next door to Kevin's. And it says, the mental hospital. And it's done in crayon and cardboard, and it looks like a kid kind of did it. And Kevin actually thinks it's kind of convincing. Well, Harry should know where he works, and he immediately knew that this was not the place that he gets his paycheck from. Well, Kevin, this is where your laziness comes and bites you in the ass. And you gotta wade through your own shit on this one because you didn't prepare for this. And you gave up the high ground because look at you. The monsters are towering above you, and you've lost control. Well, it's all been leading up to this now, hasn't it? The monster's shining moment, and it's all a testament to how strong their friendship is. Well, Harry begins a practiced little speech, his second attempt at some sinister final words. This time, the third time, is the charm, eh, Kev? But before he indulges in this midnight snack, why, it's Papa Alpha, here to save the day. And with the sharpened end of his namesake, the Shovel Slayer slices the throats of the Monster Squad. And if they intend to make it to the morning, they had better listen to the advice of Brother Buzz and apply some goddamn pressure to those lacerations. Oh, Kev, you weren't calling little Nero to celebrate. You were calling the Hero Squad to come in and clean up this stupid mess. Well, what's this? Kevin produces a tripod with an old VHS tape home video recorder. Well, he turns it on and hits record and zooms on in as the Monster Squad are being taken outside as they hold their necks, spurting blood in every direction. Well, Kevin, it's your directorial debut. It's your snuff film magnum opus. This was all intended to be an art project to be put onto film for the ages. Well, the Monster Squad don't know it, but they will go down in cinema history as the bloodiest monsters ever to be captured in Haddonfield, Illinois. Well, I guess I got one thing on my Christmas list, Kevin says with a wink. He looks outside and zooms on in as him and Harry make beautiful eye contact for a second. They kind of transfer a mutual respect, and they non-verbally say, "I'll just see you next time, all right? This is probably gonna happen again." Oh, Kevin, you have yourself a merry little Christmas, okay? Offer up some cookies and some milk to Santa Claus and count your blessings. Because even though this universe wants you to ride solo every December 25th, it's Christmas in your heart if you're celebrating, no matter where you are and no matter who you're with.
We're coming into Haddonfield now. If you have any second thoughts, or if you're going to change your mind, or you render this entire thing useless, you need to speak up now. Because a lot of these parents, they get within 5 minutes of their target, they make eye contact with their kids, and they just back out like pussies. So you need to tell me right now if this is even going to be worth it, or if that check you gave me is going to clear, okay? If this is about me turning you down, it's nothing personal. I'm just not into helicopter pilots. But what about that laugh we shared? I said Sheboygan weird, and you looked at me like you wanted to spend the rest of your life with me or something like that.
Despite his complete lack of professionalism, Gus, the helicopter pilot, did get Mama McCallister to her destination in a competitive time. I mean, against the airplanes that were all grounded. He did a pretty good job, all considered. Well, he was running low on fuel, and he tells Mama McCallister that if she's gonna make her target, she had better grab this rope and jump down and rappel into the white, snowy nonsense. As Mama McCallister belays down into the abandoned neighborhood, we find little Kevin asleep in a pile of trash, dreaming of the goriest details from last night. And a helicopter? Wait, am I dreaming? Or is that a real helicopter outside? Oh my God! Are they here for me? He says aloud to no one. It looks like Santa flies an Apache now, the badass. And he got rid of his sleigh because he's coming in just in time to make my dreams come true, Kevin says to nobody. And he's alone again on Christmas morning. Well, fuck. Well, Kevin, if I was in charge of this Christmas miracle, I'd make it shine in your favor. But at least you got some white buttery snow to rip it up on later when you bring out your sled. That's a cool thing. I'll be home for Christmas, he says. If only in my dreams. Kevin prepares a Christmas noose to be... Oh, wait. Do you hear that, Kevin? Well, before you go and do the worst thing imaginable, there might be a brand new package waiting for you downstairs, and it's addressed to you, Sir Kevin McCallister, master of the house, keeper of the zoo. Inside the house, Mama McCallister reaches into the back of her belt and pulls out her best friend, her .38 caliber special. And Kevin, he's unarmed. Oh, he knows that sound all too well. It's a showdown, Kevin, and you showed up with bare hands. It's an OK Corral style gun thing, and you're ungunned. Well, Mama, she makes the mistake of looking Kevin dead in the eyes. Those deep, dead eyes. And she doesn't see a monster this time. She sees a little boy who loves Christmas and loves his family. And I guess history does repeat itself in good ways, because a Christmas truce was called, and they hugged for a long time. Kevin, I should let you know, I tried some of your dark psychic powers. It got me on a flight. It really worked. It's some good stuff. I'm sorry that I... But Christmas miracles, they come in twos and sometimes threes, because here's the McCallister family and the horses too. It's everyone under one roof. Finally, a Christmas that we can all enjoy together. Hey Kev, did you get that note I left for you? Look, just give your dad my best, all right? Put her there. I guess even your enemies can treat you to a little Christmas surprise. Now, Mama was confused. She thought she had called off the marriage on account of Papa, falling in love with that Parisian. But he found himself in a before midnight situation and called the whole thing off. Who, Daphne? Kevin said, getting everyone's attention. Yeah, I killed her in her sleep last night. Perks of having dark psychic powers, I guess. The McCallisters were kind of stunned and very impressed with how well Kevin had turned out despite their influence and his complete, isolation from all humanity. And he seemed to have a good, humorous tone about him. And everyone liked him. Even the horses. And they like nobody. But Kevin, horses are not your family. Hell, the McCallisters aren't even your family. But what matters is that you spent the holidays with people you love and you want to be around. Well, Papa McCallister finds a huge chunk of human foot. It was Marv's. And he says aloud to everyone in the house, "Hey, look, free foot. Anyone going to claim this? If not, it's mine." Yeah, you keep it, all right? It means more to you. Well, that dark, foreboding voice returns, and this time, it's a familiar voice. It's the voice of Papa Alpha. And he says to Kevin, "I hope you have a Merry Christmas this year. Me and your mother, we wish we could be there, but there's several other children we need to reintroduce ourselves to." And that sat well with Kevin. Spread the joy today. Let everyone be with family. Let no child be alone on Christmas. And he gives his father a little Christmas wink and a wave. And he wonders, is this the beginning of a brand new story? Is this the beginning of a new franchise of tales of Kevin McCallister on Wait, what is that sound? Wait, Kevin, Your Chekhov brand TNT sticks. Did you unlight the fuse? Hurry! Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a good night. I just wanted to say thank you for making it this far. No one needs to make a comedy project this long. So, thank you. I appreciate your attention. I just want to say thank you to Zachary Foster, Lauren Mayer, and Garrett Werner. Some beautiful people, amazing comedians. Thank you so much for helping. And also to Brad Neely, who is a great comedic mind and wonderful illustrator and writer. This is supposed to be like a spiritual sequel to what you were doing, and I've always wanted to see more of it. So I took things into my hands, I guess. Also, this was a meditation. This is a meditation on sequel culture and remake storytelling and reboots and all that stuff. And I thought it was appropriate to take something that we all love, that I really love. And this is not meant to be a slam on Home Alone or anything like that. It's something from, it's a love note from an admirer. I very much love the movie. I hope nobody from the making of this original content, I hope no one's offended. This is all done out of love and respect. So to those that found this cool or want to share it, my name is Steven Brydle, I guess. I don't know who this person is, but you can find me on, all the grams and the Twitter, and, hit me up. I'm there. And if you like what I do and you want to see more, I don't know. I want to make another one or do something else very soon. So I look forward to making more stuff and see my previous stuff, and that's fun too. And let's watch me grow as an artist, I guess. Sincerest thank yous. This is great. Merry Christmas, and yeah.